Welcome to today's Explainer. You know, if you've been doom scrolling the housing headlines lately and wondering what on earth is actually happening, you are definitely in the right place. Today, I'm putting on my local real estate agent hat, and together we're going to unpack the absolute latest market data for Fresno. We'll cut through all that noise, see exactly what the numbers are saying, and most importantly, figure out what it means for your wallet. Let's just dive right in.
So, is 2026 finally the time to buy your home? I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? Or, well, depending on the neighborhood, maybe the $500,000 question. If you're a prospective buyer, I know this is exactly what's keeping you up at night. You've been saving up, you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting, and you're just wondering, is this my moment? Well, to get you the real answer, we're not just going to guess. We're pulling out some brand new Redfin data to break down exactly what's happening right here on the ground.
But hey, before we can figure out where we're going, we've got to acknowledge where we've been. So let's look at part one. The pandemic price hangover, and how we got here. If you are feeling just completely exhausted by your home search lately, honestly, this quote straight from Redfin sums up the why perfectly. They note that a frenzy of demand led to a sharp decline in affordability that weighed on buyers and sellers and basically slowed the whole housing market down to a crawl. Look, if your house hunt has felt totally draining and frankly financially overwhelming, I really want to validate that for you right now. You are not imagining things. The market fundamentally shifted on us, and that affordability crisis, yeah, it got very real very fast. So let's see how that frenzy translates into our local data. Up 58.5%. Yeah, I'm going to let that sink in for a second. That massive percentage right there represents exactly how much Fresno home prices have jumped since April 2019. If you've been getting severe sticker shock every single time you open up a listing app, well, this is why. Over half the purchasing power you probably had just a few years ago, it's basically been swallowed up by this incredible surge in prices.
Let's translate that massive percentage into actual dollars and cents because it really paints an even clearer picture. Back in April 2019, the median sale price for a home here in Fresno was about $269,900. Fast forward to our current 2026 market, and that median price has absolutely skyrocketed to $427,810. Just pause and really think about that gap for a minute. We're talking roughly $158,000 more for the exact same typical home in our area. Seeing the raw numbers side by side like this, man, it just makes it crystal clear why navigating today's market requires a totally different game plan than it did before the pandemic.
So I know the natural next question you're asking is this just a Fresno problem? Well, let's move into part two, Fresno prices versus nationwide, and look at the broader picture.
As your agent, I always want you to understand the context of our local market against the rest of the country. Right now, the median sale price in Fresno sits at $427,810, which is, you'll notice, a bit higher than the national median of $396,173. But it's not just the current price tag that's different. Year over year, our Fresno prices have climbed 3.1%, which is actually outpacing the national growth rate of 2.4%. And if we look back at that pre-pandemic 2019 baseline again, our local 58.5% jump is running slightly hotter than the 55.4% increase we've seen nationally. So, the takeaway here? Not only is Fresno a bit more expensive than the national average right now, but prices here have also been growing at a slightly faster clip.
But hey, take a deep breath, because it's not all doom and gloom. Let's pivot to what economists are actually seeing on the horizon right now in part three. The long, gradual reset, and what's happening now. The economists over at Redfin have identified that we're in the early stages of what they're calling a gradual reset. So what exactly does that mean for you and your home search? Basically, it's a phase in the market where affordability slowly improves, mostly because price growth starts to cool off at the exact same time that wages are rising. It means that agonizing pressure we've all felt over the last few years, it's finally beginning to release. But, and this is key, notice the word gradual. While things are absolutely getting better for your wallet, it's going to be a slow, ongoing process. This isn't some dramatic housing crash. It's a slow, steady stabilization. The really crucial point here is that this improvement, it is definitely not going to be a straight line. For instance, nationwide, in April, prices actually rose by 1.6%. The national market is still being pretty stubborn. But here is the local silver lining for us Fresno buyers. Month over month, the median sale price here actually cooled by 0.5%. It dipped down 0.5%. Honestly, this just brilliantly illustrates why you can't always panic over national news headlines. In the exact same month, where the rest of the country saw prices tick up, Fresno experienced a tiny bit of that gradual cooling we were just talking about.
All right, so we've looked at the history, we've looked at the nationwide trends, and we've zoomed in on our city. Now let's bring this right down to your kitchen table for part 4, making your next move, and what this actually means for you.
As we build out your personal home search strategy, here are the absolute core takeaways you've got to keep in mind from all this data. First up, expect a long, gradual reset. Please don't sit around waiting for prices to just plummet overnight because the data simply doesn't support that. Second, remember that improvement will not be linear. We might see prices dip 1 month, like they just did, and then bump right back up the next. Third, you still need to prepare for a difficult market. Yes, affordability is slowly improving, but it's still tight out there, and you've got to be financially ready to go. And finally, always rely on local data over national headlines. As we literally just saw, Fresno can do the exact opposite of the national average in any given month. So the name of the game, stay patient, but stay vigilant.
And that brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. I really want you to chew on this. How will you navigate a market where improvement just isn't linear? Like, are you truly prepared to jump on a brief, local dip here in Fresno, even if the national news is screaming that prices everywhere else are up? The data clearly shows us that opportunities absolutely exist in this 2026 market, but grabbing them? That requires a sharp eye and a very steady hand. Thank you so much for joining me today to unpack all this crucial data. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll catch you next time.